The U.S. men's national team just got a wake-up call by losing to Germany 3-1. You know, something we're kind of accustomed by now every time Gregg Berhalter faces a team that's not from CONCACAF, essentially. A German side that has a ton of quality, but has also been struggling for years. So, what did we learn? Hi, I'm Julian Naglesmann, and welcome to Tactical Manager TV, and welcome to the 7 Things We Learned series, where every single day following a U.S. men's national team match, I tell you 7 things that I learned. And listen, I'm going to try to be as positive as possible because it is very easy to just be negative every time we lose. There are some positives, there are some negatives. I will try to address all of them as much as I can in only 7 lessons. And let me know, what did you learn from United States 1, Germany 3? Also, hit the like button on the process to make me smile, and try to look at it this way. At least we didn't lose 7-1, which makes me happy when my teams don't lose to Germany 7-1 at home for personal reasons. Okay. Let's go to lesson number 1. I should not be talking about that. That 7-1 never happened. So lesson number 1, and I'm going to try to spin this in the most positive way possible. This overall match, everything that happened, even the result, who cares about the result? It's a friendly. It was all very positive for the U.S. men's national team. It was good because of everything that happened. Let me explain. Let's put it this way. In the first half, Gregg Berhalter changed his system enough to work. He played Gio Reyna central, even though Gio did drift wide in multiple occasions, almost looked like a right midfielder sometimes. He was still playing as an 8. He was playing central. Also, Yunus Musa and McKennie were not going wide, which is something that Gregg Berhalter usually does with them. They go wide to help on the build-out. And the fullbacks were not pushing so high up the field on the build-out. It wasn't happening. It was a bit of a different system in his positional play. However, that collapsed in the second half. But before we talk about the second half, understand, in the first half, I thought we looked mostly good. We looked a bit vulnerable on defense, but we created a lot of chances, and the match overall was pretty damn even. It could have been 2-1 for the US, 1-0 for the US, 2-2, or Germany could have had 2-1 lead. It was overall very balanced in the first half with a tiny little slight advantage for Germany. The same cannot be said about the second half, where Berhalter for the first 20 minutes shifted back to his old system, where McKennie and Musa on the build-out would go wide, would leave a gap in the middle, the fullbacks were pushing high up the field, leaving space in behind, and that was exploited. I understand he had to sub out Reyna. That was fine. He had to do it because Reyna couldn't play more. When he put De La Torre and he went back to his old system, it didn't work. It got exposed, and after Germany scored the 3rd goal, you'll notice he shifted back to the same system of the first half. De La Torre was even high up the field, and then he made some subs and things got just very much different because both teams started to replace players. But overall, my point was, it exposed once again Berhalter's old system and showed that playing Gio Central, that new system that almost looks like a 4-2-3-1, sometimes even on the defensive shape, it kind of looked like a 4-4-2 with Gio right next to Balogun. That one worked well. We played better, we created, we looked dangerous, and we kind of like matched even with Germany. But his old system was a mess. But now let's go to lesson number 2, and hopefully you understood why I thought everything that happened despite the loss was positive. And lesson number 2 is about actually Gregg Berhalter. And for lesson number 2, I have a question for you. And here's the question. Has the US men's national team ever punched above its weight under Gregg Berhalter? Besides, I guess, a 0-0 draw with England, which again, England also has Gareth Southgate in charge, and he's essentially the same thing as Berhalter, but with hair and a British accent. Have we ever punched above our weight under Berhalter? Because seriously, by that I mean, have we ever beat a good opponent? Mexico and Canada are not very good. Same with Iran. Those are literally teams that go to the World Cup and get knocked out in the group stage. I mean, sure, Mexico in the past would get out of the group stage, but this Mexico side is pretty freaking bad. I mean, they didn't get out of the group in 2022 for a reason. I guess you could argue that he beat Morocco, that made a deep run in the World Cup, but that was when they were in a deep crisis. They literally fired the coach right after that loss. Look, I am tired of complaining about Berhalter, But is he really the guy to lead us in 2026 in the World Cup that we're going to host? Is he really the guy to possibly do something special and pull an upset or two? Because you got to look at it this way. If the United States is going to do something special in 2026, we're going to have to pull upsets. And can Berhalter ever do that? I don't know. There's no evidence of that. Actually, there's evidence pointing in the other direction. And understand, Berhalter wasn't even bad against Germany in this specific match. He was just mediocre as always, which is as good as it'll get with him in my personal opinion. Look at what Herc pointed out. When we faced teams that were top 20 in the FIFA ranking, I understand the FIFA ranking is flawed, but let's use it for the sake of this argument. Berhalter had 4 wins, 4 draws, and 5 losses. And those don't sound that bad, considering you're managing the United States to have 4 wins, 4 draws, and 5 losses against the top 20 teams in the FIFA ranking. That's not that bad. The problem is, out of those 4 wins, 3 of them were against Mexico at home. And one can argue that Mexico is not really a top 20 team these days. So again, as I said, understand that to do anything special in 2026, we will need to pull at least one upset, probably 2 or 3. Under Berhalter. I expect us to do the bare minimum. I mean, it continues to be that way. Like losing to Germany 3-1 ain't that bad. But again, when will he get us to punch above our weight? Even a tiny little bit. Is he ever going to do it? It feels like even Jurgen Klinsmann got us to punch above our weight in a few occasions, despite his own limitations. Okay, let's move on. Lesson number 3 will be super quick. It's about Christian Pulisic, and I just want to point him out as a positive, not because of his second half performance, but the first half performance, and because he continues to be healthy. Look at this. Christian Pulisic has been consistently playing for AC Milan, and you could see in the first half that his confidence was up. He was aggressive. He was going at it, and he scored a golazo while being aggressive. I understand in the second half he wasn't great, but I like what I'm seeing from Pulisic, and I like the fact that despite playing many minutes, he continues to be healthy, and he's shaking away, and obviously, knock on wood, that he doesn't get injured, right? Let's hope he continues to go that way, but it looks like he's shaking away that, I guess, label that he had of being injury prone. Lesson number 4 is about following Balogun. So in terms of positioning, I think Gregg Berhalter figured out how to utilize Balogun correctly. He didn't really have him play that false 9 role that he had against Oman or Uzbekistan. I don't remember which one of those he had Balogun play almost as a false 9. But now he needs to figure out how to feed Balogun. And I think Gio Reyna can be that guy. However, despite playing central, Gregg Berhalter had Gio Reyna drifting wide quite a bit. There were times where Gio Reyna looked like a right midfielder when he would go combine with Weah. He was going wide a bit too much, so he has to have Reyna play a bit more central. That's something Berhalter can adjust with Gio in practice. Because again, if you just go through the sides, you're just going to whip in crosses, and that's not how you get the best out of Balogun. You need someone through the middle to put those through balls when he makes those runs. There are multiple times in this game that I saw Balogun trying to make the run, and no one would put the ball through. Gio Reyna would do that if given the opportunity. He played central, but he was drifting wide a bit too much. Put Gio a bit more central, and it might start to work out. We need to find a way to feed Balogun. He is our best center forward. We need to figure that out. Positioning-wise, it was okay. Lesson number 5, I'll be super quick. It's just something that you already know. Dest kind of sucks defensively. He's very good going forward, but defensively, he got exposed once again, playing against players like Jamal Musiala, Leroy Sané. Again, like, Sané is literally a lefty, and Dest kept giving him the inside while playing on the right wing. Just force Sané to go to his right and get across, not inside. That's literally how the first goal happened. Dest made multiple mistakes and got exposed defensively once again. And playing in the Netherlands with a team that is dominant, I guess it's kind of not helping him improve in that aspect, just the Champions League matches. Again, someone has to sit down and talk to him, because it just seems like he just kind of tunes out sometimes. I don't know. He has to improve that because of lesson number 6. Let's talk about that. So lesson number 6 is one thing that I've noticed by just following underdog stories throughout the years in World Cups and other cup competitions. They always have one thing in common. They have a very strong defense, a good goalkeeper, a solid back line. That's the common denominator of multiple underdog stories. And against Germany, our defense kind of got exposed, and that can't happen if we want to do something special in 2026. It has to be fixed. There were moments where Germany made it look easy, and I understand Germany has some world-class players going forward, but you have to make it tough. you have to make it tough on them. And there were multiple moments where I looked at it and it looked like the Brazil 7-1 loss. It looked very easy for Germany in multiple occasions. This team needs to learn how to soak up pressure and hit the opponent in transition with speed. We did look good in transition a few times. We just didn't look deadly in transition. We looked threatening, but not deadly. But again, we need to learn how to soak up pressure, drive the opponent to our field, and hit them in transition. Our defense wasn't horrendous in the first half. It was just bad, but it was pretty freaking bad in the first 20 minutes of the second half. That has to change. Holding CONCACAF teams to a 0-0 draw or just holding a clean sheet against them means absolutely nothing. It's against teams like Germany that you need to give them a hard time. Your defense needs to be rock solid. And we didn't look rock solid. Lesson number 7, I guess it's sort of optimistic. We lost to Germany, but this is just a friendly, so the result itself doesn't matter too much, but the performance is what matters. And as long as we learn from it, this was positive. Essentially what I'm saying is I'm just trying to be positive here. It's not all doom and gloom. The result itself doesn't really matter. The only issue and the only reason that I'm a little bit upset is because it just feels like the same old. But to be optimistic, Berhalter noticed his mistake in the second half and readjusted to the same system in the first half that was working, and then we looked sort of a little bit better, and it stopped us from losing maybe by 4 or 5 goals. So I guess stay optimistic about that. Now, we're done with the 7 lessons. You can comment down below, what did you learn from United States 1, Germany 3, and obviously drop a like to get a smile on my face. A fake smile, you know, just like the Joker one that he does like, Was that close enough? Right, everyone, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget, we will be doing a match preview for United States versus Ghana. They play on Tuesday, and we'll be doing a live watch along for that as well. Hopefully by then, Pete has recovered from his explosive diarrhea, and he will be with us. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.